Hello and welcome back to another KCC video. I'm Rob and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into the ProRevenge archives. Our first story today comes to us from Ray Rex. A-hole tailgates me when I'm already speeding, so I set them up for a speed trap. Let's jump right in. I was driving home from a get-together and was going 65 to 67 kilometers per hour in a 60 kilometer per hour zone. Where I'm from, the police almost never pull you over if you're going 10 over or less, but will definitely pull you over for anything over that. All was well until I got closer to my area. It's less city-like and more rural, with the roads alternating between single and double lanes. I'm on a single lane speeding 10 kilometers per hour over when a pickup truck in my rear view caught my attention. They were going a tad bit faster when they caught up to me and promptly braked a meter behind me. I was like, okay, I'll speed up to 70, no big deal, but they continued to tailgate me. Upon closer inspection, I could see the mug of a very angry woman who had no understanding of personal space. What ensued was a full 5 minutes of them completely obscuring my rearview mirror with how close they were. I was tired and kind of hungover, so I really was not in the mood to be worrying about a potential car accident thanks to her driving. I was going to pull over to let her go around when Waze gave me a heads up that a police officer was reported up ahead. This was when I decided I'm gonna dole out some karma. I slowly dropped my speed from 70 to 60, now at the speed limit. This woman was furious. Why she just didn't pass me, I'll never know, but she was literally going slightly over the midline, yelling to herself in my rear view, flashing her full brights in a weird show-offish way to get me to go faster. I did this for another minute before Waze showed the cop was less than a kilometer away. I put on my turn signal, very slowly pulled over, and watched this woman flip me the bird as she whipped past me, disappearing over the hill, now going way faster than 10 kilometers per hour over. I continued on my way, getting up to 70 kilometers per hour when I cleared the hill to see flashing lights ahead. Jackpot! I drove with anticipation until I got close enough to confirm it was my friend from earlier. Not wanting to miss out on hitting her with our new secret greeting, I dropped down to 60 kilometers per hour, peered over, and flashed the bird back at her. I hope you enjoy the ticket, Karen. Ah yes, the tailgater. These are the kinds of people that I love to play around with. If I'm already 10 clicks over the speed limit and you're right up my butt, I'm gonna slow right down to the speed limit, but only when I'm in a no passing zone. As soon as I hit that passing zone, I'm going 15 clicks over, you better believe it. That person is getting stuck behind me for as long as I possibly can. Ha! Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our next story today comes to us from The Mung. I warned you not to park here. Let's jump right in. This all happened when I was a young man around 21 years old. I was sharing a flat with another young bloke in a Perth suburb, Australia. I had not long had my first car, an old 1972 beat-up old Ford Falcon, you know, base model, slightly rusted, air-conditioned floor, etc. I'm 50 now, so quite a long time ago. I loved my old Ford. It was roomy, comfortable, and reliable. As part of the large block of flats we lived in, each flat was given 2 parking spaces, one undercover and one open. My spot, clearly numbered with a 2 in a large white paint digit, was the open space. All was well for a few months. I was getting along really well with my flatmate, and we got along with our other neighbors. Enter entitled person. He drove a fairly new BMW, nice and flash. Whilst I was at work, he took it upon himself to allow himself to steal my spot. In Australia, the Ford Falcon was one of the largest cars on the road, and parking it was difficult. It would be classified as a mid-size in the USA. I get home, and my spot is occupied. Dang! Off I go to find someone else's spot to borrow for the night. I ask Unit 1 as I know they don't have a car, and they were quite accommodating to me. Still, I go inside and write a note for the owner of the BMW and neatly place it under his windscreen wiper, hoping that a polite request would do the trick. Nope. Next day, same thing. Now I'm getting a little irritated. I repeated the previous night's efforts, but made the note bigger and a tad ruder. I know he got the message because the bits of paper were gone. Day 3, same again. It's the weekend. Unit 1 couldn't lend me their spot as they had visitors. Okay, fair enough. I parked my big old Falcon across the front of the BMW, blocking it in. I wasn't going anywhere that weekend. Next morning, BMW was gone. Somehow it managed to slip the coupe. I steal my spot back again. That evening, the BMW did to me what I did to him, blocking me in. I see red. Upset me is not nice me. I'm patient, I bide my time. Monday morning, he's gone, and I go to work. Monday evening, yep, you guessed it, spot taken again. Fair dinkum, does this guy think he owns the spot? Revenge mode. New note on a sheet of A4 paper written on his windscreen with a big black texta, the kind that goes through the page. Full sheet is stuck to his windscreen with that horrible masking tape that always leaves something behind when it's peeled off. Next day, note gone and BMW still in my spot. Okay. Same again with the note, rude to the extreme, kindly explaining to the BMW why in the 7 dark levels of hell he shouldn't park in someone else's spot, maybe even referring to his dubious parentage. I then get out the big gun, my silicone gel. I used the entire tube, plastering every last square millimeter of the page, and stuck it to his windscreen, right in front of where his eyes would look through at the road. Try ignoring that. When I go to leave for work the next morning, the BMW is gone, nowhere to be seen. I saw it further down the car park a couple of days later with a brand new windscreen. Needless to say, he never parked in my spot again. In fact, neither did anyone else ever. Now, OP added an edit onto this story. It says, "To all you readers who are wondering why I just didn't get him towed, here's why. Think about it. I was young and naive at the time and didn't even think about towage. Now, different story. Then, I just wanted him to go away and leave me alone. I wasn't even aware at the time I could. So, horses for courses. The time was the early 90s. I was in my early 20s, skinny and not particularly strong, and with no idea on how to fight. I only had my intellect. The guy pissed me off. I didn't know which unit he was in, never saw him at any time, nor did he approach me when it was obvious which unit I was in. I started off being polite and progressed gradually downwards from there, culminating in the final offensive. Context: I got what I wanted. He was sorely inconvenienced and seriously embarrassed publicly for the entire large block of flats to see. Everybody would have passed him, and the plastered note on his now unusable car. Plus, since nobody would help me, I had to help myself, and of course, warn them all not to mess with the weakling from flat number 2. Having him towed would have produced less humiliation, as he could have merely shrugged it off as a broken down car. It worked. It's interesting that the BMW driver kept on doing this because, if somebody's driving a really crappy car, one that looks like it's falling apart and probably isn't worth very much, they might not be so concerned if you retaliate, so they're gonna damage your expensive crap. Our next story today comes to us from a deleted account. Sexist jerk loses grant and doesn't know why. I do. Let's jump right in. I am an early career academic in a small niche field. I'm going to fudge the details on some of this because the field is so small. As I said, I'm an early career academic in a small field. Right out of grad school, I was able to get a very prestigious fellowship at a very prestigious institution. I was thrilled and I went into my first day ready to work my butt off for the 2 term. The head of the department, I'll call him John, seemed nice enough on the first day, but it quickly became clear that he was an incompetent and sexist bully. A quick summary of with him: any woman that worked with him was called sweetheart when he was in a good mood and girly when he was in a bad mood. 2, he refused to give me 2 days off to attend my uncle's funeral. The 2 men who worked under him were both allowed 2-week vacations over the year because they were working hard. None of the women were allowed vacations or time off for any reason. 3, if he didn't like you, he would change the requirements of a task at the last minute. I work in a field that sometimes requires pretty high security clearance, With 2 days' notice, he demands that one of his friends be able to come to an event I had organized that required security clearance to get into the building. His friend was not an American citizen, making security nearly impossible, particularly on that timeline. Instead of listening to reason, he tried to dock my pay in retaliation. I was able to get that denied through HR. 4. Speaking of pay, he frequently forgot to pay all of us and tried to force one of the other female fellows to handle all his HR issues. As it wasn't a part of the fellowship to handle admin issues, she refused, which led to some serious temper tantrums on his part. So I think you get the picture. It was bad. Bad enough, in fact, that the institution hired an outside consulting company to investigate what was happening in the department. At first, I was very hopeful and thought maybe the situation would get fixed. However, the consulting company also had expertise in this small academic field, and it turns out that the CEO of the company was an old friend of John. I quickly realized that the investigation would go nowhere. Also at the same time, John was applying for a $1 million grant. This grant is a bit different than most others because it's a community-chosen awardee. There is a grant committee and all members of the committee are nominated by people in the field. The committee then chooses who deserves this grant. Although the grant is considered medium-sized for the field, it is very prestigious. Importantly, the members of the committee are public. Knowing that the investigation was going to go nowhere, and knowing the names of all members on the committee, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I had a decent travel stipend as part of the fellowship, so I planned from then on out to only attend conferences where a committee member lived. This way, he had to pay for me to go. I then would go to these cities and get in touch with committee members. Because it is a small field, it isn't uncommon to schedule informal get-togethers with people in the field even if you don't know them personally. So I spent a lot of time traveling, which ended up being great for my career anyway, and talking to all sorts of people in the field. I'd offer to buy them a beer in exchange for asking them questions about their careers. Through these casual conversations, I'd ask them about personality conflicts in the lab and how they had handled them. I never mentioned John by name, but by the end of the chat, it would be obvious who I was talking about and that the issues were serious. I also made sure to talk about Jane, a woman in the field, and how amazing it has been to watch her short but fast-moving career. I realize that all of this was pretty subtle, but I hope that these little seeds would impact the committee's decision. The grant decision was announced 2 weeks after I had finished my fellowship. At this point, I assumed he was still going to get it because that is what the grapevine was saying. Academics are so gossipy. But I got a call from another former fellow. The grant went to Jane. The committee cited her short but impactful career. Apparently, John was so upset he broke his own laptop by throwing it across the room. 3 years later, he still mentions at conferences how Jane never deserved the grant and how he doesn't understand how he lost it. It honestly threw me off in this one when I read that he called his female coworkers girly when he was upset, because that's what I call my kids. I have 3 daughters in my house here with me, and whenever I go to bed, it's "Good night, girlies." I guess it's not quite the same, but it made me look twice. Our last story today comes from another deleted account. Cheat on my dad, I ruin your life. Let's jump right in. So a little over a week ago, I caught my dad's adulterous wife at a hotel pool with a man I'll call Steroid Douche, or SD for short. Guess what they were doing? Hint, not swimming. So she and Steroid Douche have some history. About a year ago, she left my dad for Steroid Douche. This was just a mere 6 months after my father married her, so my dad let her go and started the divorce stuff. Unfortunately, she came crawling back to him before the divorce could happen. She claimed Steroid Douche beat her. Steroid Douche doesn't love her. She made a mistake, so my dumb dad takes her back. Now here she is, only 4 months later, playing tonsil hockey with Steroid Douche at a hotel pool when she should be at her office working. She didn't see my husband and I, so we took some super sweet pics and slipped out of there. I'm not gonna lie, I was super pissed. I was going to send the pics off to my dad right then and there. However, hubby and I decided that there was more that could and should be done. Now, I'll try to keep this brief, but there's something I need to add. My dad has supported this woman and her children for years, and she is not a cheap woman to have around. She has only very recently gotten herself a job, a very nice one in fact. She is actually in the process of owning about 1/3 of the business. My sisters and I have speculated that this recent success might be because of extramarital activities with the fairly wealthy recently divorced business owner who spontaneously took my dad's wife under his wing. I'll call the business owner B.O. Now, I had no proof that she was cheating on my dad with business owner, only steroid douche. However, I figured it wouldn't hurt to reach out to business owner with my findings to see how he would react. Since she was supposed to be at work, she must have called off, so I called her office. Hi, this is OP. I'm calling about adulterous wife. Is business owner there? I should mention my dad's wife pretended to be a loving stepmom. She's not. Well, that also meant pretending to have a hard but endearing relationship with me. In fact, her office is plastered in pics from my Facebook of myself and my family. So people in her office know who I am and didn't have any issue with transferring me to business owner. Hi OP, is everything okay with adulterous wife? Well, kind of, it depends. How close are you really with my dad's wife? Excuse me? He totally stammered. Never mind, look, I'm gonna be straight with you. Adulterous wife is out with steroid douche when she should be there working. Silence. Hello? Why should I believe you? All you've done is lie about adulterous wife. Yeah, my dad's wife is a permanent victim. I'll send you some pics I took. Here's my email address. I send the pics and get no response. I decide to call Steroid Douche's gym, which is also my gym. There's been a pretty awful rumor going around about Steroid Douche. Apparently, he's been selling steroids to fellow gym members. So I told them Steroid Douche tried to sell me steroids there last week. This was a lie. I told them I didn't feel safe going there anymore, so I'd like to cancel my membership. They asked if I was going to go to the police and file a report. I told them no, that Steroid Douche was prone to anger and I didn't want to risk retaliation. They understood. Membership canceled. I know this seems irrelevant, but this gym takes these kinds of things seriously, especially when complaints result in an end of a membership. At the very least, they will be looking to cancel his membership too. So then finally, after all that, I send my dad the pics I took of his wife with a long drawn out message about support and love and whatnot. Now to the good part. It's been a week since I saw what I saw and did what I did. Here are the results of my half-butt sabotage. 1. Adulterous wifey lost her job and any chance at being a co-owner. Business owner trashed her crap in the office and actually made a huge scene, which led to a pretty nasty, heavily detailed review on a local Facebook rant page from a customer that was in the establishment. Our town is pretty small, so a review like that can be a bit damaging, and because of the contents, it really hurt adulterous wifey's image. Someone even shared a story about her husband having an affair with my dad's wife 3 years ago at her last job. Wouldn't you know it, Steroid Douche had rented out a locker at the gym. Since the waiver you sign to rent a locker allows the gym to open your locker whenever they feel necessary, Steroid Douche ended up getting his locker searched. What they found in the locker, according to the police blotter, was a freaking unregistered pew-pew. So poor Steroid Douche is going to prison, probably. Yeah, seriously, great way to BS myself into a win. Did I mention he's a felon? Haha, you can guess how that worked out for him. Bye-bye. My dad's wife is now living in a hotel. Between the pics, business owner firing her, and then Steroid Douche being sent away, my dad threw her butt out. She is super upset about Steroid Douche, hysterical to be more precise. She refuses to come see her kids, who are still living with my dad. My dad is being civil and trying to keep everything super calm for them. She doesn't seem to care about my dad or the kids at all though. She did give me a call, I let it go to voicemail. I couldn't really make out what she said, but between the shrieks and sobbing I caught, "I'm gonna kill you," and "You ruined my life." I might get a restraining order, I don't know yet. I'm kinda giddy about this. My dad will hopefully start being happier. Wait. So I know there's a whole big story here, but there's one thing that's just, it's weighing on my mind. You're telling me that you were able to cancel a fitness club membership over the phone? How? You're like a god. I just wanted to pop in another quick recommendation here to check out my friend, The Austin Analysis. He's starting to read Reddit stories on his channel, and he does them with so much more personality than I do. So check him out, the link is at the top of the description down below. Check out all 4 OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.